I think it's time we celebrate what we did, celebrate the good we did for the world back then, and it's time for recognizing the folks that did it.
My roommate was a former Marine tank driver, and I was explaining my problem. I'm conflicted. What am I supposed to do? And he says, well, if you're conflicted, join the Marine Corps. They'll solve that problem for you. So I did.
Yeah, when I got my commission, got my wings, I selected a Marine Corps commission. See, if you go through, I went through as a NAVCAD, Naval Aviation Cadet. By the time you get to graduation, then you get to choose whether you're going to be a Naval Aviator or Marine Aviator.
I was with the 3rd Marine Division, Battery M, Mike Battery, 4th Battalion, 12th Marines, and Kilo Battery, 4th Battalion, 13th Marines.
I've always loved building airplanes, wanted to be in aviation, but I knew I was too tall. I mean, even the recruiter had to put me through exercises so I could squeeze down an inch just to meet the minimums to get in the Corps. So I think from day one at boot camp, yeah, I was going to be a rifleman. And shot expert, so I guess I knew how to actually fire the weapon too. But yeah, always 0311 rifleman.
I had lots of training because I, of course, went in 1952 and I didn't go to Vietnam until my first tour in 1963.
Then the Corps shipped me out to California, to Camp Pendleton, where I joined the unit I went to Vietnam with in January 1965, the 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. But the guy was right. When I left the Corps, I was no longer conflicted about what I was going to do with life.
By the time I got there in country in '67, we were, the flow of forces into country and the maximum cap of U.S. forces in Vietnam kept growing, so there was a big transition for us as we also shifted from a peacetime operation, peacetime Marine Corps to a wartime Marine Corps, and grew in size at the same time.
Well, we flew out of Khe Sanh the whole 77 days as a siege. And we were at Quang Tri, we were based at Quang Tri, but we would fly up every day and fly all the supplies into Khe Sanh that came into the country.
Down at, went to Vung Tau first, then went on to Saigon, then we went up Quy Nhon, or Cam Ranh Bay, Quy Nhon, Quang Ngai. This is just going up the coast, and then they dropped us off at Da Nang.
Well, I flew 1,084 combat missions, and most of them were, or a good majority of them were evac, medevacs, and insert and excerpts of recon teams into known enemy territory, you know. I went to Da Nang, and I was the adjutant for Prov Mag 39, and spent my tour there 63 and 64 in Da Nang. As the adjutant for their group, I administrated the group pretty much, and me and the colonel, there's 2 of us at the group headquarters about us, and one of my jobs was to go out into the local economy and contract for lumber and cement and different supplies that we needed to operate the air group.
They made me a sergeant, which surprised the heck out of me. 3 years in the Marine Corps and I'm a sergeant, that's unheard of. But I got a squad, I was in charge of stuff. I mean, I was king of the hill.
Because we were a medium artillery unit and our role was general support reinforcing, we participated in almost every operation anywhere north in that time frame, sir. All of them.
Fortunately, the CH-46 was a chopper that could take a lot of battle damage. You come back with 100 holes in that thing, still flying, and it's amazing what it would absorb. The best days, in my mind, were you could go in to pick up the troops and you didn't have a bunch of dead bodies. they were all at least able to walk aboard the chopper.
As a battalion op chief, being able to coordinate the fires of several batteries, because I had all the FDC sections from the batteries in one place, in one centralized fire control, and covering multiple missions, and that felt good. So that spoke to your you know, many times, whether it's civilian or our military life, you know, a lot of our personal sense of self is your job, and knowing that you did your job and did it well adds to that.
Surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of snipers and mortars and rockets and you name it. And the first one was one of the recon teams from 19 that was out, and they were on a ridge line and steep slope, and where I had to hover up against it and back into it to load the folks. And there were, as I recall now, there were 20 folks in that unit that went out, and there were 9 of them still alive and 11 killed. And then by the time I got them out of there with all the income and everything else, there were only about 4 or 5 of them that were still walking.
You must learn every person's job, regardless of their rank. So if we lose them, you know how to take over.
In the leadership role, when you've taken 5 people in to get 4 out, say, and the 4 are certain to die, the 5 of us, there's still a question, are we going to live or going to die? But you risk, you have to have a calculated risk is whether you're going to stay and get them out or you're going to save what you've got.
I knew I had this obligation. I had the names of 6 Marines and 1 corpsman. I was going to do better for them. And so I had a purpose to the life.
You were part of something that was organized, had a sense of purpose, had a standard of conduct, an expectation of achievement or performance, and demanded that from you. And that's not bad.
Be with people that give you a purpose. Protect what rights you have, are the 3 that I can think of. It was sad looking at those 2 panels with all my guys' names on it. But then standing back and seeing that they share that with thousands of others, I felt, okay, they're not alone. But oddly enough, out of all that, what got to me more, and it still makes me cry, is the nurse's statue that's around the corner.
No matter how tough the situation gets, you can overcome it, you can live through it and survive it and still be happy afterwards, you know. When it gets really, really tough, and especially when you're surrounded by good, solid Marines, that's a good lesson, to know that there are that many good people in the world that I could serve with.